breaking news yesterday out of the NovaCare complex. Philadelphia Eagles made a shocking interdivision trade with the Washington Commanders to go get Jahan Dotson, wide receiver, former first-round pick. We're going to talk all about it. We're going to get set for tomorrow's final preseason game against, I don't even know who they're playing. Jeez. We're also going to talk Phillies. We're going to talk about another loss for the Phillies. Guys, trending in the AM. We're live, taking all your thoughts and opinions in 60 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. We're live, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. You know the drill. Whichever platform you are watching on, wherever you are watching, do me that favor, do me that solid. Hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe, follow button, retweet, whatever platform it is. Make sure you go out there and hit the buttons necessary to make sure everybody finds the show and everybody can interact with the show, as we've got so much to talk about, so much to get into today. We also have a very special guest joining us later in the show. Brenden Deeg from The Score and the Double Doink Podcast will be joining us in about an hour and change. He'll be joining us in the final 20, 30 minutes of the show, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Always look forward to talking to Brenden. Definitely one of the better guys in the Eagles covering realm of things, out there. So, guys, stay tuned for that. But I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, here every single morning. You can find me at Beard of Knowledge on all social media platforms. And we got two really – there are comments flowing in already, so I want to dive right into them. But basically today, the Phillies lost again. We could question Rob Thomson again. And the Eagles made a huge trade yesterday. Little while after the show ended. At work, I get the news, breaking news, Eagles, Commanders, trade. Wide receiver 3 is locked up now. Jahan Dotson, former first-round pick of the Washington Commanders, just 2 years ago. Let's break down the trade. The Eagles shipped off one of their 2025 third-round picks, because they had two of them, two of their seventh-round picks in 2025 for Jahan Dotson, and a 2025 fifth rounder. So we basically swapped the third and the fifth, gave up 2 sevenths, and we got Jahan Dotson. And Jahan Dotson has a lot of potential. Former first-round pick, Penn Stater. Has some attitude issues, maybe, from what I am hearing. But, man, will that make that wide receiver room? All we've talked about wide receivers for weeks now. Just changes everything. It changes who's making this roster and who's not. It changes what's going on in the preseason game massively, and it brings in another weapon for this offense. No excuses for Kellen Moore. No excuses for Nick Sirianni. No excuses for Jalen Hurts. We were joking and talking a little bit about the offensive output this offense can have this year and what kind of records they could set. Well, there ain't no excuses now. So right away, I'm just going to dive right into all these comments that are already piling up, guys. Duck saying right off the bat, wide receiver 3 problem, I think, has been put to rest. Absolutely, Duck. Vibes guy. That's right. Fly. Eagles fly. Where are we going here? Good morning, Duck. First, I got your other one, then the good morning. Good morning, Adam. What's up? Devin saying, go Lehigh Valley. Okay. Phillies are killing us. They just can't get out of their own way with all the talent on this team. Yeah, I got crushed last night on Twitter because of my Phillies and Rob Thomson takes. But you know what? This team is lifeless, and they just don't care. Something drastic has to change. The Phillies should fire Robbie and bring in another manager. Can't do worse, maybe. Look, I'm just going to say it. We're going to talk a lot more Eagles and Phillies today. But Seattle Mariners fired their manager yesterday. They were in first place about when the Phillies downward tick happened. They had a 10-game lead in their division in June 18th, and they've gone 20-33, fallen 5 games back in their division, the Mariners. Scott Service, longtime manager, fired. So why can't the Phillies do it? Now, I know they still have a division lead, but they've gone pretty close to 20-33. It's dreadful. The fact that people don't understand that you can fire a manager, playing Weston Wilson at Weston Wilson, whatever. Yeah, that's a real smart move right there in a must-win game. Good morning, Brian. How you doing? Yep, absolutely agree with you. 1,000%. I don't know about will be fine, but yeah. Another Penn State player for Barkley, too. Absolutely, yes. Jahan Dotson, Penn State, or isn't he from like Nazareth or something, north of Philly? Huge trade. Way to go. I love the move. That's right. What's up, Jim? Go Birds. Super Bowl bound? I hope so. Howie Roseman is my spirit animal. I like that. Yeah. I mean, Howie Roseman is putting together a hell of an offseason for the Philadelphia Eagles fans and for the team. Hell of an offseason so far. That third we gave up, we got for a fourth last year, so it makes the deal even better. I know, yeah, when you break it all down, we still have a third. We still have another third in 2026 we could trade, the Hassan Reddick one. Basically, the fourth we got back in the Kenny Pickett deal. We flipped for the third that we ended up flipping for Jahan Dotson. I mean, there's so many. It's like one of those boards where you got the strings all over it. That's what Howie Roseman is doing. The man is an off-season wizard. And I'm kind of shocked that Washington made the deal so cheaply, too, which makes me concerned. There are concerns about Dotson's attitude. As soon as the trade went down, I instantly messaged some of my boys over at Ref the District. It's a Commanders network over there that I've done work with in the past. And they said the only problem with him is his potential attitude issue. But if you got an attitude issue, you're coming to Philly to play behind A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith with Jalen Hurts as your quarterback, no attitude issue. That's going to be put in check really fast in Philadelphia. So we'll see how that plays out. Dotson going to make this offense even more dynamic. Big fan of that move. Well, let me see here. I got his stats in his rookie year. He played in 12 games. He had 35 catches, 523 yards, almost a 15-yard per average catch, 7 touchdowns last year. He played all 17 games, started 16 of them, had 49 catches, 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. He played 45% of his snaps in the slot, 55 on the outside. You know, he's fast. He ran a 4.43 40, you know, in college at the combine. Dotson is going to be great. I mean, I don't know if he's going to have 30 or 40 catches in this offense, but he's going to be able to have that 15, 16, 17-yard per catch average. He could stretch the field, catch some touchdowns. Jahan Dotson levels above Quez Watkins, who was playing that role last year. Sorry, I don't have that positivity towards the Phillies. I think you have it backwards. You are Howie's spirit animal. Yeah. What do we got here? I vote for Phillies to hire Phil Stiefel. Yeah. I don't want the job, Jim. I don't want to be no manager of the Phillies. You think they're going to listen to me? Heck no. King Howie should run the Phillies in 6 years. Absolutely. Absolutely. Brianna, what's up? Are you sending me a present or something? I can't tell what that emoji is. Looks like a gift. Go Birds. My question is, do you think it's a good idea that the offense and a lot of stars have not played yet? Look, I'm torn on this. I'm old school, Brian. I want you playing some reps in the preseason. But I also understand there ain't no reason to risk it. So far, the first 2 preseason games have had very wet turfs, you know, with rain and situations. And then preseason game 3, you just don't play them. I'm a little concerned. But We got to have faith that they get themselves ready. Dotson didn't mesh well with the new coaches. It happens. He'll be motivated player. Absolutely agree with you, K1. 100% agree. About he'll be motivated to play here. I don't know about. All I know is I messaged Ref the Districts and Trev, one of the hosts there. First thing he said, you guys upgraded your slot. A guy that can run every route the Eagles are going to want him to run and run them well. And he's got an attitude issue. They're the three things I was told by Trev right off the bat. Dotson knows he has 2 years in what on paper is a great offense to look good enough to get the bag. Things works out. Yeah, I mean, that's another big key on the Jahan Dotson. I mean, he's got 2 more years left on his rookie deal. Plus, he's a first rounder, so we could pick up technically his 5th-year option. So, God forbid, 2-3 years down the line, something happens with Smitty or Brown. Look, he's going to get paid someday, but he could sit here, play behind 2 of the best wide receivers in football. Now, it's debatable. It's been debatable if the Eagles had the best 2-man wide receiver team. Now there ain't no debate that the Eagles have the best trio of wide receivers in all of football. At all. Phil manager of the Phillies, free pizza. Screw that. Those players makes millions. They can pay for their pizza. If Dotson has a personality issue, I think AJ and Smitty, yeah, absolutely. I think the attitude is why the Commanders gave him up on him so easily. But the Eagles had no hesitation bringing that attitude in here because of who else is in the wide receiver room in Smitty and AJ. Plus quarterback Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts ain't going to accept no attitude from one of his wide receivers. Just no way. A first-round contract to boot. Yeah, I mean, so technically he's got 2 more years left, but you got the 5th-year option always on first-rounders. He could be here for a while. We've got 3 elite wide receivers now. Well, 2 elite and 1 maybe elite for the next 2 to 3 years. I love it. I love it. When is the media going to hold Bryce accountable? I don't know. Never. I mean, Hall of Famer Mike Schmidt was held accountable and took shit from his whole tenure here and still won 3 MVPs in the World Series. Look, you can't criticize anybody on the Phillies without Phillies Nation jumping down your throat, telling you don't know baseball. It's a long season. Don't worry. There's plenty of time to turn it around. Let me tell you something, guys. Phillies Nation, what time is it? What's today's date? August 23rd. Happy birthday, Lauren. You got 5 weeks left in the season to turn this shit around. And you got a tough series now this weekend against Kansas City. You got the Astros, and you got more against the Braves. Yo, in a week and a half, we might be looking at, not this upcoming Overreaction Monday, the Overreaction Monday first week of the NFL season. We might be looking at a team that's not in first place anymore. What's up, Joe? Good morning. Good move by the Birds. But I understand the major excitement. Kellen Moore hype, focus on wide receiver 1. Yeah, look, the hype is Paris Campbell. Hasn't done anything yet. You can move on from him. Johnny Wilson started strong, hasn't done much. And Aeneas Smith hasn't done anything. Maybe he's had 1 or 2 good practices lately here. Britton Covey is Britton Covey. Now you don't have to worry about your third one. And the fact that Jahan Dotson can play outside as well and has started on the outside as well. If you go down with an A.J. Brown injury or Devontae Smith, you got that piece that could step right into that void. So I think it's a great move. It's a great depth move. It's a great starter move. It brings so much more to the table. This offense is going to be scary, scary good. They should, in theory, Adam. You never play them in the last preseason game, which is tomorrow. But I think the starters would have played game 1 or 2 if the rain, the excessive rains and stuff like that weren't making wet field. You don't put them out on soaked fields in a preseason game, and that's probably why. I think they probably would have played a couple series in one of those first 2 games without the rain. Yeah, absolutely. Being on a good team versus a bad team, having a chance to win a Super Bowl versus a chance of maybe winning 6 games, changes your perspective on life a little bit. Changes your perspective on the game. 100% agree with that opinion right there. Don't forget the commies had trash at quarterback his whole career. Absolutely. Now he's going to Jalen Hurts, who some people say is trash too. We all know is not. So I like it. I like the move. See, I'm looking at you. I'm making eye contact with you, K1, right now. Eye contact. Good morning, Joe. What's up? Good move by the Eagles, but I don't understand the jumping for Joy Kilmore's offense. Hyper-focused wide receiver 1, tight end 2, and running back. What is Dotson going to – and that's the thing, Joe. If Dotson has an attitude issue, is he going to be okay? He's only going to get – I don't even know if he'll get 30 receptions. He might get 30 targets, period. And that's it. You got to understand the targets are going to go to A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. Grant Calcaterra get some targets because they're going to run some 12s, some 12 personnel. Saquon's going to get his touches and more. Dotson might only get 30 targets this year. But if he can haul in 20 of them and he can get 4 touchdowns out of it, it'll be a lot better than what Quez Watkins was doing. I will say one thing. It's a weird stat, and there's a lot of context missing from this stat. Okay, but Brandon Lee Gouton yesterday from Bleeding Green Nation put out something here, and I'm pulling it up on Twitter right now. Wide receivers with the most interceptions occurred over the last 2 years when targeted. Okay, so balls thrown their way that were picked off. Devontae Adams leads the way at 12, but he had 339 targets over the last 2 years. Gabe Davis had 12 on 171 targets. The second place is 11. There's two wide receivers with 11 interceptions thrown their way. Tyreek Hill on 334 targets. To Jahan Dotson has been picked off 11 times, but only on 135 targets. So out of all the interceptions based off of targets, Jahan Dotson gets picked off a lot. And I don't know, there's quarterbacks at play there. There's offenses at play. There's a lot that goes into it. But 11 interceptions on 130 targets, something to keep an eye on. Does he not attack the ball? Does he not try to break up the ball if it's off target? Does he not know how to turn into a cornerback? Does he run the wrong routes occasionally and not on the same page? Now, his quarterbacks plays a lot different than some of the others on that list, but just something to think about. It's a context question that's weird, but on the flip side, it's also something that's very interesting, in my opinion. Howie made a super move. He made a Super Bowl winning. Howie made a move that basically says, yo, we're all in. We're going to the Super Bowl. We are not going to miss out. He made the exact type of move that Dave Dombrowski didn't make for the Phillies at the deadline. Here's the title opportunity. Let's grab it and run with it. Not just leave it there and hope it falls in our lap. It's not an earth-shattering trade. It's a solid trade. Yeah, I agree. It's a smart trade. How about we use that? It's a smart trade. There's many layers and complexions to it, and many layers and different things to it there. Dotson move has awakened icon. Look, I'm not really awake this morning. It's going to be it's been a long week. I got a long day today. I'm working all weekend because nobody wants to work. So it's going to be a long week. I'm already tired. Just going to say, I've been watching baseball for 45 plus years, and this team with all this talent is the most lifeless team I've ever seen. Look, on the Phillies thing, and to all the people that say you cannot fire Rob Thomson, it's the players' fault, but you can't criticize the players because they're so loved. Remember, in 2022, we were lifeless. Nobody was hitting. The pitching was inconsistent. You fire Joe Girardi, snap. Everybody took off. Now it's too late to fire Rob Thomson now, but they could have fired him last month. And look at the Seattle Seahawks collapsing, firing their manager mid-season. Don't tell me you can't do it. Don't tell me it can't solve the problem. It might not solve the problem, but not doing something about a problem is just letting the problem continue. And it drives me up a wall that you could say one bad thing about anybody on the Phillies. You don't know baseball. And there's a podcaster. Well, I don't even think he's ever done a podcast. He just claims to be a podcaster. Count got suspended last night. I love it. 'Cause he's the one that calls me an idiot every day. Offensive side is overpowered. Now, they might have to score 30 points a game and break the all-time Eagles scoring record, Thomas, because I'm still questioning the defense a little bit. And guys, everybody watching, there's a lot of people watching. Make sure you hit that like button, that share, subscribe, follow button, depending on which platform. Brenden Deeg, NFL news editor of The Score, Eagles podcaster, joining us a little after 9 a.m. this morning. So make sure you're staying tuned. We'll get his expert opinion on the trade and the Eagles' outlook this season in about 35, 40 minutes here. Preseason has shown that Covey and Nagata are the only ones even ready. So this is the question with Jahan Dotson. Now, I put this out here yesterday on Twitter that I think they might only keep 4 wide receivers now on the initial 53-man roster. Smitty Brown and Dotson are locks, and Britton Covey. Wilson and Smith are going to the practice squad, and if not, oh well. And Paris Campbell, he's just going to get cut. Nagata will go to the practice squad as well. People think I'm crazy. They're going to keep 6. They're scared to lose Smith or Wilson. No. They only kept 4 last year on the initial 53-man roster. And then as the season progressed, they bumped it up to 5. They might keep 5. I think they keep those 4 and those 4 only. They might keep a 5th, and if they do, it's going to be Smith, not Johnny Wilson. Johnny Wilson is not making the initial 53-man roster, guys. I'm saying it here. I'm saying it now. The Dotson trade eliminates any chance of that. Phillies Nation needs to wake up and realize that this is not a good team right now. Players need to be held accountable if the Phillies fall. Yeah. I mean, it's a long season, Brian. Oh, they'll be fine. Well, that long season has now become a short little marathon, a short little sprint to the finish line. 5 weeks approximately left in the regular season. And that's it. He's normally around 30 to 38 for 500 plus and a tutties. Yeah. It's a massive upgrade over Quez Watkins. Ironically, we basically, because Lamedy Zaccheaus is now on the Commanders, so we basically gave them Zaccheaus in a 3rd-round pick for Dotson in a 5th. That's basically the way this has played out. Totally different organizations right there and how they're run. Look at those quarterbacks. Carson Wentz. No, I get it. The Dotson numbers, the stat I put out there is very, very context needs to be added to its situation. I get that, K1. But a great wide receiver, just like a great quarterback can elevate an average wide receiver, a great wide receiver can elevate an average quarterback. And Dotson didn't do that. Howie now needs to get a little bit more talent for the offensive line depth. Absolutely agree with you. And we'll talk to Brenden Deeg about that shortly here. Definitely, I'm still concerned about the offensive line and the defense in general. Honestly, I am. I think the offensive line depth will come when cutdowns happen over the next 4 or 5 days. It's Howie season right now. It's Howie season. The 2 weeks before the start of the season with cuts, with bringing new guys in, trades, everything. I mean, he's going to bring in somebody else. He's got to. Yeah. I almost read the comment out loud. Nope, not falling for that trick. We need a championship now. Yeah, we do. But Rob Thomson took us to a World Series 2 years ago and got us to the NLCS last year. Oh, so he's good. Nick Sirianni got us to a Super Bowl, got us into the playoffs 3 straight years. People call for his head every other day. Rob Thomson is immune to criticism. Or you're just an idiot, a dope, a clown, and nitwit if you think anything is wrong with. If you put 100% of the blame on this failure of the Phillies on Rob Thomson, you don't know baseball, according to the majority. And I think it's the dumbest thing in the world. Nope, not falling for it. Absolutely. And we didn't win a World Series in '83, but it can't hurt. It ain't going to help. It might not help, but it ain't going to hurt. Surely he practices in the nation's capital. What's your opinion on the kickoff rule? I got to see it more, Adam. I think it's fun. I think it's exciting. It'll add another element to the game. But big picture, I don't think I could truly appreciate it or hate it until I see it play out over the whole season. 80 and 22 also. Yeah, absolutely. Every year we've gone to the World Series. We fired a manager, so do it now. It's a great point by Walter. I love it. Great comment there. Very, very good point. What's up, Stevie Fuentes? My man. Hope you're doing well this morning, my man. I caught a few minutes of you and Mitchie Poo last night on Birds on his podcast. Watson is faster than Dotson, but we are getting better hands and better route runner. That was the first positive thing, Duck, that the ref the district guy, Trev, messaged back to me, is that he is a great route runner, and he's going to be able to very successfully run every single route the Eagles are going to ask him to run. So that is something very, very good to hear right there. Protect Howie at all costs. Yeah, I mean, Howie Roseman should have a statue built out in front. I think the defense is going to be better than last year's defense. Well, it can't get worse than last year's defense, honestly. Not at all. So there's that. I mean, I don't know how it would get any worse than last year's defense. So that's just my opinion. Defense, we need to get a feel for how the safety room will play out. Absolutely. And the ones we have penciled in as starters are injured. Linebacker also still a bit of a question mark. Yeah. There's a lot of question mark. The defense, when I say I'm worried about the defense, there is potential for a great defense there. The problem is we don't know. Everything is relying on will the linebackers be okay or not? Will the safety stay healthy? And if not, the backups perform well. Will the defensive line make up for the addition of Hassan Reddick and Fletcher Cox? There's a lot of questions. There's a lot less questions on the offense. I think it's solid, but not as deep as it used to be. I got a lot of hype and hope for Ajomo being that fourth guy on the defensive line, but we'll see if he can handle a more advanced role this year or not. We signed Donovan Smith O-line for league minimum. He's a free agent. Maybe. I don't think Dante, how he's going to bring in another offensive lineman. He brought back, what's his name, Poe or something like that, guard center, the other day when they cut C.J. Uzma. I think Howie's going to wait till cut downs start happening across the league and see where we go from there. I think that's what his plan is on the offensive line right now, unless something drastic just comes across his table. I think Howie's going to wait. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, we'll see a new offensive lineman here. 29 games played in first two seasons for Dotson. He's durable. His ability to run motion and screen plays. Yeah, I heard somebody else, I don't know if it was Shane Half or somebody else talking about him in the wide receiver screen game. And with his speed and his athleticism, all the motion we're going to be running as an offense fits right into it. I'm not falling for the tricks, although I do have to run through these ads earlier than normal. So I will start with the first and the best one, SherryTickets.com. If you need tickets to a sporting event, concert, theater, go to the best. Go to SherryTickets.com. Family owned and operated since 1945. Great prices, no hidden fees. The price you see is the price you pay. SherryTickets.com. EOP10 at checkout. Get you an additional 10% off all on top of the already great prices. So make sure you check them out. SherryTickets.com. Promo code EOP10. Got to get all the ad reads in before Brenden gets here in about 35, 40 minutes. I like the new kickoff rule. I think the average return has been to the 30. Yeah, I want to see it in the regular season, for a longer stretch before I form an opinion. Can you use Phil for damages? Can you still do onside kicks? You have to announce you're doing an onside kick. You can't surprise onside kick. And that's something that kind of is stupid and annoying to me. Bringing Jimmy Rollins, Mike Schmidt, John Kruk, Larry Bowe, Uncle Charlie. I mean, look, well, first off, Uncle Charlie, too old and sick for that. Larry Bowe maybe could give you a 6-week run. John Kruk don't want it. Mike Schmidt's a terrible manager. Jimmy Rollins, though, is intriguing to me, Michael. Sure, he's already working in the offices for the Phillies. So just let him slide down there. Maybe he could spark this team a little bit. I don't hate that idea. What's up, Mike? Good morning to you, my man. My big take is that Bradbury might pan out at safety. I thought that last preseason game. I changed my opinion on that. I think he gets cut now, Thomas. Unfortunately, I think he's one of the last cuts. Yeah, I agree with Phil. Cut down days is where Howie's going to get the deals. Yeah, absolutely. Offense and defensive line. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Depends what the under is set at, but it might be. Yeah, I might have all three ads done by the hour mark on this show. The three main ones. We need more guests for the under. Yeah. What do we got here? What's the use of using the onside kick? It is meant to be, well, because of the way you've got to line up with the new kickoff rules. Nobody on the defense or the offense could actually do the onside kick because the kicker's like way back behind everybody. So they had to change the onside kick rule, because of the new kickoff rule. I think it's silly. I like the idea that's been floated around for a few years where if you want an onside kick, you get one offensive play. You line up on the 20 or 25-yard line. They make it 4th and 15 or 4th and 20. If you convert it, you get the ball. If you don't, they get the ball wherever the ball ends. I've always liked that onside kick or that adjustment to the onside kick. Make it a 4th down play. I don't know. That was always something that intrigued me. I love it. I love it. Adam's the poster child of the Core 12 for SherryTickets.com. This man has used it at least 3 or 4 times this summer, and I love to see it. So with the kickoff rules change in the NFL, so are they planning on changing it in college? Joe, you got me on that. I'm not really sure about that at all. NFL jumped the shark with a new kickoff. Maybe. There's a possibility there, K1, for sure. We don't see too many onside kicks out. Look, onside kicks, they're fun, they're exciting. Very low percentage chance that they work out, in the big picture anyway. So it doesn't really do anything for me one way or another. But all the trying to make the game safer and then trying to increase kickoffs at the same time. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know what to feel about it, but it is what it is. But anyway, let's get back to the Eagles. Let's get back to the Phillies a little bit here. But before we do, we've got to shout out the great people over at PhillySportsTrips.com. They are the premier travel and tailgate company for your Philadelphia sports teams. If you want to travel to see your team, if you want to go to the best tailgates before the games, go to PhillySportsTrips.com. Sign up on their website, mention EOP and Trending in the AM when you sign up. Obviously, their trip to Brazil week 1 is sold out. You can't go to Brazil anymore if you don't want to. But they have great Birds takeover trips to Tampa, up to New Jersey to see Saquon return to New York. We got the bus trip to Baltimore. And, of course, Dallas week in November 10th when we take over Dallas and beat those Dallas Cowboys down. Beat them down. They also have Phillies trips. They got Union trips. You name it, they got it. PhillySportsTrips.com. I am sure they will start doing it in college in 2 years if the kickoff stays in the NFL. Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's always been rule differences in college and the pros. There always have been. So they don't always have to match them, but maybe they do. I'm going to miss it. We got about another week or so. Guys, 2 weeks from today, the Eagles kick off in Brazil. They do. 2 weeks from today. Brazil. Man. 2 weeks till the Eagles start their march to the Super Bowl. 2 weeks till we learn whether this is going to be a depressing year on Training the AM or a positive end to Training the AM in 2024 on this show. I'm hoping for the positive. But again, what were the words yesterday I was talking about? Hope, confidence, and expectations. My hope is a Super Bowl appearance for the Eagles. My expectations are a Super Bowl appearance. My confidence is that they can win the Super Bowl. I already started putting together the graphic for my entire NFL prediction. I'll have it finished sometime next week. We'll see. Phillies are set. Let the stars. We have rest up and show up during the. It doesn't work that way, Thomas. You can't just rest everybody and snap a finger. This isn't basketball where you flip a switch and you're good to go. Phillies might not even hold on to the second seed in the NL, which means a wild card round date with some team. If the Phillies have to play in the wild card round, they're getting knocked out in the wild card round. Just saying it right now. 1,000% my confidence that they can win a playoff series, a short playoff series in the wild card round is rock bottom right now. Which one is more annoying, the new NFL kickoff rule or the shift they had in baseball? Oh, man, I hated the banning of the shift. I still hate the banning of the shift. I think the banning of the shift is one of the dumbest things ever. Ever. So you're telling me banning the shift to me is like banning the zone defense in the NBA or in football, you can't cornerback blitz or you can't have a too high safety set. Like, you're trying to score. My job is to stop you. I can stop you by doing this because I studied the film and this is what's going to stop you. Oh, no, you can't do that. No. You can't think about how to play defense because we don't want you to play defense. I hate the banning of the shift in baseball. I've gotten over it. I've accepted it. I haven't bitched about it in a while because Adam just brought it up for the first time in ages. But I've always hated it. You know what? That's a perfect opportunity. Yeah, you know what? I don't know when I'll get the chance. Here we go. Skip Bayless hot take of the day. I still hate the banning of the shift in baseball. It's dumb. It's stupid. It just means it just proves a point that you don't care. You just want more runs. Chicks dig the long ball. I hate it. I've hated it since the day they announced it. I still hate it. I hate it. It's stupid. I have a way to beat your team, but you're going to say it's illegal because it's going to cause less runs to score. Get that shit out of here. I'm more looking forward to the Monday 9-2 prediction day. When do I predict the final record of the Philadelphia Eagles? That will be Monday 9-2. 9-2 is Labor Day, right? I'll be working, so it'll be a regular show on Labor Day. But I'll have the final record prediction. We'll go game by game, and we'll have the record predicted by the end of the show. I'm still dabbling between 10, 11, 12. I've been looking at it, dissecting it a little bit, Joe. I'm predicting that I'll probably fall in that 10 to 12 window. But now with Jahan Dotson, I don't know, maybe it goes up a little higher. Maybe I end up with a slightly higher prediction. I don't know. There's a chance. I really don't. I went out to dinner last night with my brother, his wife, and his kid, and I really don't know if the Eagles' schedule is as easy as people think it is. I think the Eagles' schedule, I know strength of schedule on paper, it's not as tough as last year's strength of schedule. But I think, in theory, there's a lot of really tough games on this schedule for the Eagles this year. I mean, Green Bay is a good team. Atlanta's a good team. The Saints are average. Tampa Bay is a good team. Cleveland, we'll see. Giants are not. The Bengals are a good team. The Jags, I'm on the fence on. Dallas should be a good team, but they might not be. The Rams are a good team. Baltimore's a really good team. Pittsburgh's an average team. This is a lot tougher of a schedule than people want to realize. I know win-loss strength of schedule is one thing, but I don't think that people are giving the schedule and the opponents of the Eagles enough credit on how tough it could be. And I also think there's going to be a lot of regression in the NFC this year. I really, truly feel that the top two seeds in the NFC might only have the Lions, the 49ers, and the Eagles, probably the prohibitive favorites of 1, 2, 3 in some random order for the first three seeds in the NFC. And I kind of feel like all three of them might only have 11 wins. Just my thought, just my opinion. The shift was 70 years old. People have probably been doing this shift forever. I still hate it. The shift was fine. The shift is just a team playing defense. You're just telling the world you don't care about defense. That's what you're doing, and I hate it. I won't be working, but I'm buying a ticket for the first home game because my birthday coming up. Hey, well, happy birthday to you in advance, my man. Good for you. I'll be sitting on my couch watching all the games. Tough schedule is a good thing, helps build a team. Absolutely. But what I'm saying is I think a lot of people are saying the schedule is so easy. I see content creators predicting 13, 14, 15 wins. I just don't see it. I think an 11-win season from the Eagles this year would be a success. It locks the NFC East up. Then we'll see how the playoff standings fall. Who thinks Rattler will be quarterback one by mid-season? Who thinks Rattler should be an NFL quarterback, period, is what I should ask. Imagine Howard with no shift. Yeah, I get it. More home runs, more doubles, more base hits. But you're telling me, Joey, you'd rather hear that you can't play defense? I'm telling you. It's like in the NBA, oh, you can't double team Joel Embiid. We're going to eliminate double teams in the NBA. In the NFL, cornerbacks can't play press. Cornerbacks now have to stay 10 yards off the line of scrimmage for every wide receiver. You can't have two high safeties. You can't blitz. That's all you're doing in baseball with the shift. And Adam, I'm so pissed off at you for bringing this up. The Phillies play 10-game stretch against KC, Houston, Atlanta. They're up 6, so the Phillies have to go at least 7-3. Look, the next 10 games, I'm predicting it right here. Starting with KC tonight, Houston on Monday, and then the 4 against Atlanta. The Phillies in these next 10 games are going to go 3-7. 3-7. Mark my words, the prediction is locked. And let me tell you something. The following Monday, September 2nd, a lot more of Phillies Nation will be on my side of the argument with the Phillies. I'm telling you, it's the way it's going to play out. Guarantee it. We could do it, man. No way. I'm thinking 10, 12 wins this season. That's, again, where I'm at. I think the over-under on DraftKings is 10.5. And I think it's like a spot-on number. So I think 11 is the number. Rattler is, I can't see the emoji. I hope it's a trash can. Sorry. I haven't done well with the eye contact. My apologies. The eye contact is slacking today. My apologies. Do you want to sue me for my lack of eye contact today? If you want to sue me, you know who to call. David R. Cherry, the Cherry Law Firm, workers' compensation lawyer, motor vehicle accident, personal injury. I'm looking at the eye thing, and you can't even see my face. Personal injury, criminal law. Call the best. Call the man that's going to fight for you and get you what you deserve. David R. Cherry, the Cherry Law Firm, 610-565-0300, and let him fight for you and get you max compensation. Again, David R. Cherry, the Cherry Law Firm, 610-565-0300, or go to cherryinjurylaw.com. Back at it right here. Guys, you're watching Trending the AM right here on Edge of Philly Sports. Hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button or follow button, that retweet button, wherever you're watching. Hit those buttons. I'm Phil Stiefel. And acknowledge me, please. I would greatly appreciate that. Is Strom hurt as I've seen it? He pitched bad a couple nights ago. He pitched well another night. He's hitting a little bit of a wall, maybe, Strom. Good morning, Eric. How you doing? Let's go. Got to have more hope, brother. Hope. What is hope? Hope is being dishonest with yourself. I don't have hope. I look at things realistically. And realistically, this Phillies team has been below average since they went to London to play that series. They've been below average for 2+ months. Not 2 weeks, 2+ months. And there's 5 weeks left in the season. Nobody's hitting. The pitching's falling apart. No hope. Why are you looking at my keyboard, Phil? Phillies go 6-4 in the next 10. I firmly disagree with you on that. But I hope I'm wrong. Look, people think that my realistic opinion means I want them to fail. I don't want the Phillies to fail. I don't. I want them to succeed. But my realistic confidence level right now is that they are. I hope I'm wrong. And I'm the only content creator that will come on a show and admit I was wrong. If the Phillies go 6-4, 7-3 over the next 10, I'll come on here and say I was wrong. This team is better than I realized. I will bow down. You know that. Eagles always have a loss every year that is unexpected. Absolutely. They also win a game that they shouldn't win every year. Just the nature of the game. Yeah. Oh, man. I think the Phillies go 4-6 over the next 10 games. I think that's more realistic than my 3-7, but sure, yeah. I don't know, Adam. I don't want to see him pitch once over the next 10 games unless we're losing or winning 10-0. It's the only way he gets into a ball game for me is in a blowout situation. Who would you have more confidence in right now in a 10-1 situation in the ninth? Him pitching or Garrett Stubbs pitching? 11-6 regular season, 4-0. I love the 4-0 in the playoffs. Throwing that in there, Rick. Fantastic way to add that in there. Joey P. Just saw a report that said Eagles traded the third they got for a fourth. And yes, exactly. Basically. And I kind of tweaked it a little bit, Joey. I said we gave that we didn't re-sign Lamedy Zaccheaus and Washington. He's on Washington's roster. So we basically traded Watson and that pick for Dotson and the fifth, theoretically speaking. I think they go over 100 for sure. 100 what? 100 wins? You think the Phillies get to 100 wins? I don't know. I got to look at the record, how many games are left on that. It's funny, Suarez goes out with back injury when his family comes over from wherever. Oh, man. He started to struggle as soon as they came over here. I know. There's a lot of jokes, a lot of theories, a lot of conversations about that. But, you know, I don't know what to tell you about that. Hold on. Let me see here. Phillies have – why am I on the Eagles page? I don't want the Eagles page. Phillies are 74-53. That puts them at 127 games. So 162 minus 127. That's 5. That's 35 games left to play. To get to 100 wins, they would have to go 26-9. The Phillies are not going 26-9 the rest of this season. Not even close. They got 35 games left. At best, they'll go 18-17, which 18 wins puts them at 92. 92 wins. At best, they're going to go 92-70 this year. There was a point this year where we were talking about the Phillies winning 105, 110 games. Now they're probably not going to win 95. They might not win 90 games. Can you think about that? This Phillies team was on pace for 105, 110. I think actually early in the season, there was a point where they were on pace for like 114 wins. They were on pace to break the Phillies' all-time win record. There was a point. And now we're talking, can they get to 90 wins this year? That's how far this Phillies team has fallen. Walker tonight, Suarez tomorrow, and a bullpen. Yeah, so that's not good. That doesn't incite confidence. Hope is a way to let yourself down. I'm looking. I'm trying. There's too many comments to catch up on. Why was Zaccheaus is better than Dotson? Yeah, I don't know. When Witt was waived, the Phillies began struggling. He barely played here. His stats were bad play. Yeah, look. I wouldn't say very good. He's good in Atlanta. But it is a funny thing, Ryan. What's up, my man? Hope you are well this morning, Ryan. Good morning, Mitchie Poo. There have been a few rants already today, Mitchie Poo. Few rants. You've missed them if you're late to the show. What? I'm not doing it. What, am I sexually harassing somebody by making eye contact through the camera? All right. Where's TMC, who wants the eye contact, to save me here? Real Muto being out didn't help, but he back. We can get to 100. Nah, dude, there's no way, shape, or form, Thomas, that the Phillies are going to go 26-9 over their last 35 games. No way. And correct me if my math is wrong. That was very quick math I did right there. The Phillies have no middle ground. They are high or low, very good or very bad. They need to be able to have a middle ground when not playing. Great comment, Ryan. There's no consistency. They're either really good or really bad. Lately, for 2+ months, they've been really bad. Good morning, Chad, my man. How you doing this morning? Hope you're well. We're talking Eagles. We're talking Jahan Dotson. We're talking Phillies. We're about 15 minutes away from Brenden Deeg joining the show, NFL news editor from The Score. Talk to me, Philip. Are you loving the Dotson trade? I love the Dotson trade. You're seeing a weakness on the team, wide receiver 3, and you're attacking it and fixing it. Howie loves to spend on offense. That's what he's going to continue to do. I think the Jahan Dotson, Davey, as I said earlier in the show, has extra levels to it too. Because not only is he instantly the third best wide receiver, he's instantly your slot starting cornerback, but Jahan Dotson is actually good enough, God forbid, knock on wood, it doesn't happen, that if A.J. Brown goes down for a few weeks or Devontae Smith gets hurt for a few weeks, Jahan Dotson can slide outside as well and give you meaningful minutes and snaps on the outside. He has the ability to run routes on the outside or the inside. Based off of his snap percentages, 45% in the slot, 55% on the outside. He can do it all. So I love the Dotson trade. You barely gave up anything for him. It's win. It's a win-win for the Philadelphia Eagles. Mitchie Poe. Yeah, what's up? Commander better not. That is the only kickback on that. That the Commanders make this trade to get that extra third-round pick to then go out and get Brandon Ayuk. That would suck. Howie might get a statue if we win a Super Bowl. He should get a statue. But why would Washington just give him away? There's an attitude issue. I've already addressed that. I've reached out to people in the Washington content community. So there's that. 15 likes, not good enough. There have been over 20 people live watching this show throughout the day. So 15 is not good enough. Hit that like button, guys. You think Pickett will get traded to start the season? I doubt it. Who would want him? Honestly, at this point. I may need combat pay doing the Fightins finals over the next couple days. You might need something. I don't know if you're a drinker, Big Al, but I hope if you are, I hope you got that bar set up at your house. You might need a little extra whiskey to do those Fightins. Telling you, 3-7 over the next 10 games. Mark my words. 100 wins. To get to 100 wins, Big Al, they got to win 26 of their last 35 games. Ain't happening. There was a point we were talking 114 wins for this team. Now they're on pace for 91, 92. They go 18-17. They get to 92. They might not get to 90 wins. 16 likes now. There we go. I like it. Is Julio Jones still on the team? No, he is a free agent, Julio Jones. It doesn't say much for how he drafted mid-round wide receivers, though. No, his wide receiver drafting in the later rounds is not ideal, for sure. If Ayuk rejected a trade to Cleveland, why would he agree to a trade to Washington? I mean, because, who wouldn't want to go play at that dumpster fire of a stadium, In your opinion, if Robbie was fired and the Phillies went with one of their coaches, I don't know. I like somebody that commented earlier that said bring Jimmy Rollins down from the offices. That's who I would go with. Maybe I'd convince Larry Bauer. They would be the two guys within the organization that I would use in that spot. Seattle firing their manager tells me it could happen. It's not going to happen, but they should consider it. It's not happening. Not happening. Howie will have quizzed his contacts at Penn State about Dotson's attitude. Absolutely. Howie doesn't do this. Howie doesn't do any trade without looking at it from all different aspects, all different angles, doing this full investigation. He just doesn't. That's just not who Howie is. Howie's going to do his research on every player one way or another. No doubt about it. But Howie is also going to understand the situations. Like, if there was an attitude issue in Washington, was it because of what? The dumpster fire of a season they had last year? Terrible coaching, terrible quarterback play, just going through an ownership change? Was the attitude because of the situation? So I hope that is a little bit a part of the thing. Maybe. Larry Bowa's coaching experience, so that should be you know what I would do? I would put Larry Bowa as the interim manager and have Jimmy Rollins come down as an assistant bench coach. That's what I would do. I would fire Rob Thomson today, put Larry Bowa, Jimmy Rollins on the bench. Done. And have Charlie Manuel's a special hitting instructor at home games the rest of the season. I don't even think Charlie Manuel could do road trips. Honestly, I'm not even sure how Charlie Manuel's health is these days. I know he had the stroke, obviously, a while back. I've seen him at batting practice at Citizen Bank Park a few times lately, but don't know if he could travel. But yeah, Larry Bowa, do it. What do you have to lose from firing Rob Thomson? The team stinks. The team is playing lifeless. You fire Joe Girardi and instantly snap this team out of a funk. Fire Rob Thomson. This is not a 2-week funk. This is a 2.5-month funk. This is not a small sample size. It's a big sample size. There isn't a big sample size left to get right. You need a spark. You need a match lit. Rob Thomson ain't going to do it. And yeah, you fire Rob Thomson, it might make a crumbling locker room fall to pieces 10 times faster. But it might not. First of all, it's not just Howie. Big Dom will make some. Yeah, that's true. Big Dom will make he'll do the background checks. Big Dom is hell, we've heard reports that he runs the whole entire team, not Nick Sirianni. I think the Phillies lose 2 out of 3 or swept by KC. I think Middleton pulls the trigger Sunday or Monday morning. Man, if the Phillies get swept in Kansas City and he doesn't pull the trigger, man. I'd have an attitude too playing in that shithole they call a state. Absolutely. It's happened in sports a few times when people get drafted to X team in any sport and they're like, no, I don't want to play there. If I got drafted to Washington, I'd be like, I ain't playing in that stadium. Have you seen the locker rooms in that stadium? Have you seen the walls crumbling? You seen sewage coming from the ceilings? I would just invite Uncle Charlie just to sit and watch the practice and get his insight. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Doc. Charlie has invaluable insight. And again, I don't know if he could travel on the road or anything like that, but he's local. I've seen him a few times lately on the field before games. Not a lot, but a few times. So that's always, good to see. I'm still getting responses on my post from yesterday calling me a clown. People just don't understand. People have such an affinity for Rob Thomson. The man can do no wrong. It's never his fault. God damn, it drives me nuts. Big Dom got slayed back. Dude, the Phillies should fire Rob Thomson and put Big Dom in charge of the Phillies team. You think the Phillies players will play lifeless baseball with Big Dom sitting there with his arms crossed, staring a hole through your soul? Just send Big Dom out to KC this weekend just to scare the shit out of the Phillies players for a couple days. The runs the shadow office of the Philadelphia Eagles. I might not survive telling you this, but it don't sound right in the next show. Then they got me, yeah. Depends on how much Washington willing to pay Djax. Took the money without. That's true. Money talks. 1,000% money talks. Well, other hosts on EOP think it's not time to worry about the Phillies. Look. Everybody's entitled to. What's the tagline of this show? Where your opinions actually matter. I respect your opinions. I respect their opinions. Doesn't mean their opinions are right. Where your opinions matter doesn't mean you're right. It just means I'm going to listen to your opinions. My opinion is that Rob Thomson should be gone. And I've been saying it since we lost in the World Series. to the Astros. I've been saying it for 2 years. Not because I hate Rob Thomson. I actually like the guy. I love to have a beer with Rob Thomson and talk baseball with him. But he is not a manager of a baseball team. He never has been and never will be. He's a better number 2, never a number 1. We'll try to get you off the hook for old time's sake. No. Joe Douglas used to be Howie's bouncer. Yeah. Maddie and Patty B are having a field day with the Phillies going down in a spiral. Look, there's no enjoyment in watching the Phillies collapse. There's no enjoyment in saying that this Phillies team that was on pace to win 114 games, there's no enjoyment in saying they might not win 90 now. There's no enjoyment in saying that they're going to go 3-7 over the next 10 games. There's no enjoyment in it. Not having a field day. Giants paid Daniel over Saquon. They up the big welcome to, the Giants are so funny. I don't know what's in the water at MetLife Stadium, the Meadowlands, because the Giants and the Jets organizations are both dumpster fires in different ways, but they're complete dumpster fires, both of them. And you love to see it. You love to see the Giants just falling to pieces. You do. You know what's not falling to pieces? The greatest Irish-American dive bar in Delaware County, Dolan's Bar. 24 East Sellers Avenue in Ridley Park for 65-plus years. They've been kicking ass, taking names as the Irish-American dive bar, quintessential in Delaware County. DolansBar.com, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Go in there, tell PJ and the crew, EOP, and Trending in the AM sent you. Got more comments on Twitter and on shows this week that they want Wing Bowl resurrected with Trending in the AM hosting it, taking over for the Angelo version. So we got to talk to PJ about that, guys. But make sure you're also locked and loaded on the EOP. Later today, Phillies Fighting Final and Steel Steps. 7-day-a-week programming right here on Edge of Philly Sports. All different opinions on all different topics and all different sports. Plus great short reels and stuff like that Deebs puts out nonstop. Guys, make sure you're locked and loaded. Join us in about 5 minutes will be Brenden Deeg of The Score. We'll have him on. We'll get his opinions on Dotson and the Eagles. That's when the Phillies talk will stop for the show. We'll be solely Eagles when Brenden joins us here shortly. I hurt every game the Phillies lose. I mean, this team has too much talent to be playing like lifeless fish. I agree. They handing us the NFC East. The NFC East is a lock. Don't they call it meth life? They might call it Meth Life Stadium. I just started watching Breaking Bad about Saturday. First time ever. My wife and I, we're already halfway through season 2, and we've only watched it Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday. We've only watched 4 nights, and we've gotten through something like 14 episodes so far. And I was driving down a street in Kennett the other day, and mushroom farms, everybody's got to wear protective gear, but I saw a dude, I'm assuming it was a dude, dressed in like one of the meth lab coats with a mask and all this. And I'm like, they're turning the mushrooms, or are they cooking meth in that mushroom house? I don't know. So it's pretty funny. I love to be a fly on the wall during the CD contract discussions. Oh, man. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't love to be in that scenario? Who wouldn't love to be involved in that? I just want to listen to how bad Jerry Jones is at negotiating. Blatantly telling the public, I'm not worried about it. Telling you, all this Washington talk with Jahan Dotson, doing a deeper dive into Washington because of this trade. I'm feeling more and more likely that when I make my season predictions for every team, that the Dallas Cowboys will not be second place in the NFC East. They'll be third. Because no one's as bad as the Giants in the NFC East. But it's going to be Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants. Approximately 11 wins for the Eagles. Approximately 9 for the Commanders, approximately 8 for the Cowboys, and maybe like 3 or 4 for the Giants. Breaking Bad is easily a top 5 show. I'm only like I said, 12 episodes in, and I already agree with you on that. Now I have to see it through to the end to see if it could reach The Wire, The Sopranos, and The Americans level. But already, through 12 episodes, a season and a half, it's already in my top 5. Micah Parsons will be an Eagle. Micah wants to win. Yeah. I mean, maybe that's why we're not building up the defense, because the plan is just to get Micah eventually. You lucky bastard. Wish I could watch Breaking Bad for the first time again. Yeah. It's first time. First time. And it's exciting as can be. Yeah. Man. Everyone's telling me I'm nuts for saying the Cowboys aren't going to be good this year because they'll figure it out. They'll get CD signed and whatnot. There's going to be so much locker room and team turmoil, so many contract issues there, and Jerry Jones' big fat mouth. I don't know how you can have a team be all on the same page in that situation. He will let Lamb walk and sign Dak to a big contract. He probably will consider that for sure, Adam. Micah contract comes up after this season. I think they franchise Micah. Maybe. That might be the way it plays out, sure. Couldn't get into Breaking Bad. I know I'm going to get booed for that. Wow. Okay. So far, I'm in love with the show. So far, I'd rather watch that show than work right now. Period. I'd like to take like 3 days off, bang out all 5 seasons of it. It's not realistic, but maybe it happens. Yeah, exactly, K1. Big Al's getting booed instantly in the comments. And not just by one, by everybody in the comments. Like that's what we call in Twitter world engagement farming. We need more comments in the comment section to boost up the algorithm. So Big Al says something controversial in the comments so that everyone else comments boo. It's engagement farming. That's what Big Al did there. Big Al's a smart man. He's smarter than he looks. He's smarter than that Delco brain looks, okay? He knows what he's doing. Like your backdrop. Hey, I appreciate it. There's a lot more Philly stuff than anything else back here. You can tell. People think I hate the Phillies. As you can tell by my background, you got a lot of Phillies gear. You got one Widener University. You got a couple Jimmy Buffett things. You got my wrestling mask there. You got my Masters hat there. Got a couple books with Eagles stuff on it there. But a majority of my stuff is Phillies. Because everyone assumes I hate the Phillies. I don't. I love them. I want them to succeed. I'm just realistic that they're not going to this year. Big Al, do you feel hurt from being booed? Do you believe you deserve? We already did the cherry bomb. Okay? We already did it. Don't need to do it again. Don't do double ad reads on this show. If you want a double ad read, you got to pay double for the double ad. You guys already give one person way too much extra publicity in the comment section. The fact that you're betting the over-under. With that being said, guys, we're going to move straight on to just more Eagles talk here. Joining me now, Brenden Deeg, NFL news editor for the Score, Double Doink Podcast host. Good morning, Brenden. Thanks for joining me this morning.
Hey, Phil, what's going on? How's your Friday doing? Or how's your Friday going, I guess?
Yeah, Friday's going great so far because we wake up and it just sunk in a little bit more that the Eagles made such a great trade yesterday, bringing in Jahan Dotson from Washington. So let's just dive right into it. When you heard that news break yesterday, what was your instant reaction to that trade?
This is good business by Howie Roseman. I liked the move right at the gate when I saw that the 5th-round pick was also coming back. I was like, damn, like this looks like good value. This is a trade that I would have made just right at like took me 5 minutes to realize like this is something that I would have done. I know like the wide receiver 3 position isn't like get heavy usage on the Eagles offense. However, it is an important role. Like there's about 1,100 snaps that they need to replace from last year. Like, and it was filled by Julio Jones. Britton Covey got some run at some point. Quez Watkins, like they went through a boatload of guys last year. I'm trying to remember if I'm missing it. Olamide Zaccheaus as well. So they needed to fill that role. And John Ross, Johnny Wilson, they had Britton Covey running in camp. Like there were a ton of guys they were trying to fill that hole with that just wasn't working in camp. It was a clear hole that they need to fill. And when I was counting the targets, there was also 66 targets that went through the guys that I listed before. So they needed to do something at this position. And it also just adds depth behind. If someone gets hurt, I think it's the big one here. Like if Devonta Smith or AJ Brown suffer like a knee sprain, they go down for 6 weeks, or they're out for an extended period of time. Like John Ross was wide receiver 2, and that's
what I keep bringing up. That's what, like, because it does obviously make the slot position better than it was last year, better than it was going to be before the trade. But we've been blessed with AJ Brown, Devonta Smith. I think they combined missed 1 game over the last 2 years. I mean, law of averages, maybe one of them gets hurt. You don't want John Ross. You don't want Quez Watkins or Zacchaeus filling in that spot on the outside. Jahan Dotson can. And he has played, I mean, just as many snaps on the outside as in the slot in his 2 years in Washington.
Yeah, so I think when I was looking up this, like his usage last, right when the trade was made. So the stats that I found, 45% in the slot, 55% outside. He actually played around 70% on the outside in 2022 and about 30% in the slot in 2023 or in 2022. Sorry. So his outside usage was surprising to me. Like when he was coming out of Penn State, he kind of seemed like a slot guy only, kind of like a shifty guy, can get open, is able to do like kind of deep crossers through the middle. And then he was kind of used differently in Washington. Now, another reason why I love this trade is it kind of just opens up a bunch of opportunities for Devonta Smith to come inside, AJ Brown to come inside. Like it doesn't handcuff them where they have to put these guys in specific spots. So he's versatile as well. And I think he fits really nicely with these two. He's also a Philly guy, went to Penn State, and the equivalent of the draft pick when from the charts that I was looking at, it's about a mid 4th round pick to an early 5th round pick, which is good because I was looking at like wide receiver contracts over the last couple of years. So like, let's say they needed to do something about this in free agency this year or last year. You're looking at giving a guy like Darnell Mooney signed for 3 years, $39 million this offseason. Like, and that would be kind of the ballpark that you're looking to hit on. And I wouldn't want to give up 8 to 12, 13 plus $1 million for a wide receiver 3. Like, this is a smart way to attack it. You give up a day 3 pick, and you have him under contract for 2 years and only $4 million cap hits over the till 2025. So I just think it was
just more nice Howie being just Howie, just thinking next level, playing chess, not checkers with the rest of the NFL.
And this is how he's attacked the wide receiver position, which I think is smart. Like he made the trade for AJ Brown, he traded up to get Devonta Smith. He hasn't attacked like the free agency wide receiver market is a gong show. Like that's not where smart teams kind of fill that roster spot. So yeah, I just think it was good business by Howie.
Absolutely. So how do you think that? I mean, because there's been a lot. We're now over with camp. Obviously, tomorrow's the final preseason game. Then Howie cut down season starts. How do you see now that you've got Dotson here? How do you see the rest of the wide receiver room playing out? Because I track, the average amount of, people that make the, initial 53-man roster. He did only keep 4 on the initial roster last year. He normally keeps 5. I think once he kept 7 over the last 6 or so years. Obviously, Dotson being here pushes everyone down the line a little bit here. Who do you think's the odd man out, and who's going to be the ones that make these final roster spots?
I think the biggest losers here were Paris Campbell and John Ross. They're expendable.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're on 1-year deals. They were basically dart throws at the wall to see if they can fill this position. So I think they're the biggest losers of this trade. Johnny Wilson's a lock, in my opinion. He's going to get a roster spot, so that's 4. And then from there, like, is Brenton Covey a lock? They seem to really like him in the building. He played really well in special teams last year. He's one of the best punt returners in the NFL. So does he fill that role again? Now, they did draft some guys that can do that. Like Anais Smith is a guy that technically can return punts. They have a few other guys. So like, are they going to keep Brenton Covey just for special teams? And then Anais Smith as well. Apparently he hasn't played very well at the start of training camp. He was starting to show a little bit of juice towards the end. Do you really want to put a 5th? Was he 5th or 6th round pick? I think he was
5th. Johnny Wilson was 6th.
Yeah. So do you really want to put a 5th round pick through waivers for the chance of him to get scooped? So they have some tough decisions to make here. But I this trade to me, like you says that John Ross and Paris Campbell are not making the roster.
So
one of them was going to.
Yeah. I think Howie loves to play the game of who can get to the practice squad. And in this day and age with the new kickoff return rules and all the different rules out there, last year they were able to get Brenton Covey through the practice squad to start the season. That's why he wasn't part of it. Then they eventually added him to it. I think they could get Johnny Wilson through to the practice squad. I know he's had a really good camp, but he's a 6th-round pick. I mean, he started off hot, got banged up a little bit. I don't think any team is going to just, rush to scoop him up. So I'm kind of debating between him and Smith making that 5th wide receiver spot there. I don't know, but Britton Covey, I don't even think is a lock to get picked up if they pass him through the waivers.
Yeah, and to your point, like I just kind of going by what the team is telling you, like Johnny Wilson was getting a lot of run at wide receiver 3 before the straight. So it does does signal that they did really like him, and he's been out with a concussion, I think, for the last maybe just over a week. So yeah, like it's hard to tell what they're thinking because they were trying everyone at this position at wide receiver 3, and like it's gonna be who can contribute on special teams. Theoretically, Johnny Wilson is a guy that can contribute on special teams going downhill. Anaya Smith is a guy that's probably only going to give you return ability. I don't know if he's going to be out there making tackles as a punt gunner and stuff like that. So yeah, it's honestly like I don't really have a strong take on it. I'm going to be really curious. I do, like I said, I do think this does say the end of like Paris Campbell has been in and out of camp. He's been injured. He was like the 6th wide receiver on the New York Giants last year. So like there wasn't a lot of juice there. They were hoping he could kind of resurrect his career. They liked him coming out of that draft too. They would have taken him if Indianapolis didn't draft him at that. I think they were going to take him over. It was JJ Arcega-Whiteside at that point, right? Like they really liked Paris Campbell coming out of that draft. So they were just going back to their old scouting roots and saying, let's see if we can get him back in here or get him in here. And resurrect his career. And then the John Ross thing was just an experiment, right? Like, well, let's see if we can get this former 1st-round pick back to its potential. And of course, like he's 28 years old. It's been a while since he's even had like 400 yards, and he hasn't played football in like 2 years. So, yeah, like I just think it spells the end of those two guys. And then yeah, I guess we'll see how they try to navigate this, because Howie has in the past been burned by the waiver thing. Where he tries to get a guy through and he doesn't read the league well. But I wouldn't risk losing a guy like Johnny Wilson. Like I just love the profile. He's 6'6", 6'7". He's a younger guy. I wouldn't put that through. I wouldn't put a guy like that through waivers. But
trying to go through my notes here to find it. So the last time they kept more than 5 wide receivers was 2020 when they kept 7. Is there a scenario where maybe they go a little light at another position to make sure they keep Johnny Wilson, Ananias Smith, and stuff like that?
7 seems heavy. Like I think five, maybe 6 is probably where they're going to go.
Gotcha. So overall, though, outside the wide receiver position, obviously we're stacked, and people are laughing at you in the comments that you had to bring up J-Jaw's name in the episode. Gone are the days of having to worry about those kind of wide receivers getting targets on this Eagles team. But overall, feelings from camp and stuff like that, this offense seems to be, all intents and purposes, on par to be one of those elite offenses that we've grown used to seeing in Philadelphia. Are you feeling positive? Are you feeling the vibes are there? Are you feeling that Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni are on the same page, that Jalen Hurts really, truly, not just in practice, but really does have an understanding of this new offense?
Yeah. I think all the reports have been positive. He threw his first interception at camp. I'm actually kind of happy that whole saga's over with. Like, just kind of getting it.
I'm telling you, what's going to be broken first? The Jalen Hurts interception record, or Cal Ripken Jr.'s consecutive game, played? What's a bigger record in Philadelphia or in sports period right now?
Yeah, it was like the classic radio talk. I think Nick Wright and those guys picked it up on First Things First. Like, I'm just happy that it was over with. Like, interceptions in training camp are where they're supposed to happen. It's completely fine if he throws picks there. But yeah, it's all looking good. Kellen Moore's been hyping him up at every press conference. Nick Sirianni's been talking about AJ Brown, Devonta Smith. I think we're just on John Clark's podcast, and they said that he's been doing really well in camp as well. Like, all signs point to being good. However, we have to see it on the field. I've been thinking about this because I'm diving into my NFC East preview on my podcast. I'm kind of thinking like what went wrong last year. I think I could be wrong here. Like I might be galaxy braining this, but a lot like they really struggled against the pressure last year. That was their downfall. They couldn't figure out how to handle exotic blitzes coming at you. Like the protection calls from Jason Kelce were not matching what the defense's was coming at you. I really do think there was just a big disconnect between Brian Johnson calling this offense. It's not his offense. It's Nick Sirianni's offense. And he's trying to figure out protection schemes with his center to counter what defenses are throwing at him. Like, I really just do think there were too many chains in the link, like Sirianni to Johnson, Johnson to Jason Kelce, Kelce to Hurts. I really just think it got too complicated. It got too overwhelming. They couldn't figure out like how to properly stop the blitzes. Like teams were blitzing Jalen Hurts on third down at like a 60% rate last year towards the end. They spammed it. The league average is about 38%, to put that in perspective. That kind of blew my mind when I was doing that research. So I really do think just having one guy in Kellen Moore just running the show, it doesn't have to go through 6 different headsets to get to the right call. I think this is really important. And I liked the Kellen Moore hire from the start. Like, he's ran really good offenses when he's had a healthy quarterback. If you look at since 2019, if he's had his quarterback start 12 plus games, he's never had worse than a 12th DVOA offense, and it's been top 5 2 times. So he at the floor, to me, like, they finished 10th in offensive DVOA last year. Like, that should be the floor this year. Like, I forgot how good they were at the beginning and how bad it got towards the end, because 10th kind of blew them out. I'm like, that's not what it looked like towards the end. Like, they were one of the worst offenses in the league towards the end. So if they can just like figure out the pressure stuff, like force teams to not rush 6 at you or 60% of the time at you on third down, and force teams to do different things, because what teams were doing was just playing too high. Like, Jalen Hurts also saw the most too high shell coverages in the league, because they were just begging him to underthrow, and the Eagles just wanted to push it deep. Like, I really do think the Kellen Moore addition is the biggest addition to this team, and I really do think it's going to work. And it's all signs point to it working at camp.
So obviously the Eagles addressed the weakness at the wide receiver 3 position. The biggest offensive concern I have right now is the depth on the offensive line. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, Cam Jurgens-Dickerson, they're lock solid, all pro level players. You know, Becton has won that right guard. I still have some question marks there. But in my opinion, on my eye test, you know, I go by eye test, not analytics, for a lot of my opinions. The backups that have played in the preseason have not looked very, very good. And I know they're backups and they're playing with Kenny Pickett and whatnot. Are you concerned at all about the depth on the Eagles offensive line if Lane Johnson goes down for 3 or 4 games, if Becton can't play right guard, Jurgens can't play center? Like, whatever happens there, like, to me, there's a big disaster looming if one of those guys goes down for a significant period of time.
Yeah, that's my biggest worry with this team is it wasn't wide receiver 3. It was always going to be the offensive line. Specifically right guard is my biggest worry. Like, love Mekhi Becton. I predicted he was going to win the job in camp. Was never high on the Tyler Steen pick. When they took him, I thought that was one of more Howie's questionable picks. Like, he doesn't have a ton of tools to work with, and now he's losing the job to Mekhi Becton. I think that kind of goes to show what the Eagles think of him as well right now. I love it in the run game, but like pass blocking, it's a new position for Mekhi Becton. Can he hold up there? And then if he goes down, or like you said, Lane Johnson goes down, like, my guess is they're going to kick Becton to guard or Becton to tackle. He hasn't really crushed a ton there this offseason, but they haven't really worked Tyler Steen as well at tackle. Like, Fred Johnson seems to be the 6th offensive lineman or the swing tackle right now. And I'm not at camp, but there's been some reports that he's been kind of getting cooked by Bryce Huff at some points, and there's been a lot of not like the most positive swing on Fred Johnson. So yeah, like, losing Lane Johnson has always been a massive issue for this team. I think the record is a huge swing from when he's healthy to when he's not healthy. And I remember the suspension as well. Was that the 2020 year when he got suspended for 6 games for PADs? Yeah, like, and then the team just fell apart without him, right? So there's that my biggest worry. Like, they need Lane Johnson to stay healthy, and they need the Cam Jurgens, Mekhi Becton to stay healthy as well. Like, this isn't the Eagles' offensive line depth of old. Like, they are always it's always been Stoutland University, where they have just a bunch of guys they can throw in there and play at least average to mediocre football for you. Trevor Keegan, I'm intrigued by. Darian Kennard apparently is. I think it was Lane Johnson was hyping the hell out of Darian Kennard on a podcast last week. So, like, there's some intriguing guys, but like very unproven.
You don't go into a season with intriguing guys when you're trying to win a Super Bowl. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you need guys, you know what you're getting. And you know, obviously after Saturday, cut down season starts, Howie's going to be, watching that waiver wire and listening to phone calls on trade opportunities. And I know there's issues on defense at depth at safety, maybe at some other positions along the defensive line. But I think Howie's biggest target and eyes are going to be mostly focused on trying to find someone that's on waivers that can play guard, play tackle, play everything, play back. I still don't know what you do at backup center. I know the Eagles like Brett Toth, in that role, but I mean, he didn't look that great in the last 2 preseason games. So, like, I think Howie's going to have all of his focus on this waiver wire, focused on offensive linemen that are getting put on it.
Offensive line is the hardest position to find waiver wire guys and
True.
free agent guys because teams don't give up good offensive
I
linemen. Like, this is the most important position outside of quarterback in football. So, like, that's like free agency and waiver stuff. Like, you rarely find a hit like that. Like, I think the Rams traded for Kevin Dotson like last year late, and he had to turn to be a superstar. Like, the Steelers must be just like ripping their hair out from that one. Like, that's like a 1-of-1 kind of situation where you see like a guard flip in the summer and turn out to be good. Like, it just rarely doesn't happen. So, like, I agree with you how he's going to be eyeing the waiver wire, but it's probably going to be the guys that are on the roster going into week 1.
All right, so we got the final preseason game is on Saturday. Obviously, the offense is pretty much set. You're not going to see anybody. You might still see some contributors on defense play on Saturday as they still to try to figure out roles. Who are you? Let me rephrase this. Who outside of Cooper DeJean, because I'm sure Cooper DeJean is who everybody is watching Saturday for solely. Outside of Cooper DeJean, who are you watching Saturday's football game for that can maybe make one final statement to either make the roster or get significant playing time week 1 against Green Bay?
Jeremiah Chata Jr. I know it's the homer pick, but I
love it.
His pops is one of my favorite players growing up. I really just wanted to carve out a nice career here with the Eagles. It would be a really cool story. And I thought he played really well. I was the first preseason game, and then I think he struggled a little bit last game. So it's kind of up and down, but I would like there's a hole for playing time here right now. Like they seem to really love Zach Bond. Sounds like Zach Bond's gonna be the guy week 1 next to Devin White, and we'll see. He hasn't played a ton of outside linebacker in his career. He's been kind of a tread from edge rusher as well with the New Orleans Saints. Like, he's been all over the place, but like, when it's so weird, the discourse around him in the building, like Nick Sirianni went on like a 30-second rant about 2 weeks ago about how much of a competitor Zach Bond is. Vic Fangio brings him up all the time. Like, they really love him there. And I'm not there, but like, I just don't, it baffles me why Zach Bond is like their propaganda on the defense. And Devin White's gonna have a starting spot, but like, I really do think there's an opportunity here for a Jeremiah Chata Jr. and a Kobe Dean to maybe leapfrog Zach Bond, and the preseason games are going to be key here too. So that's the guy. And then I think I just saw on your screen I was going to bring up. I like Jalix Hunt was a guy that I wrote about at the Score for my 10 underrated prospect piece that I do every year. I was high on him. I really did think that I did think he was a perfect fit with the Eagles. I didn't think he was going to go as early as the 3rd round. I thought they were going to be able to get him in the 4th, but I thought it was a perfect match. He visited, like, the Eagles targeted him as a visit as well during the draft process, and he's been showing up. Like, a lot of the beat writers are saying that he's been a surprise at camp. I think he beat Fred Johnson for 2 sacks at the last training camp practice from what I saw. It sounds like he's like not going to be this redshirt freshman that I think I included.
That's kind of what I assumed he was going to be. It's a great way to put it. Redshirt freshman. Yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like he's going to get playing time at the gate. So I'm curious about him too, but they're probably not going to play a ton of guys that we're going to be able to discuss on Sunday or Monday. Like, it's going to be a lot of backups. The most intriguing part is to look at who plays and who doesn't. Like, that's where you get the most information of, more than actually watching the guys on the field.
Back to the linebackers. I actually have said it a couple times, kind of sarcastically, but kind of maybe I'm exaggerating when I say it, but I keep saying that Zach Bond and Devin White won't be your starting linebacker duo by week 3.
Yeah, week 3 might be a tad early, but I'm with you.
Or Trotter steal one of those roles. I already see almost like a rotation starting to form at linebacker, and then one, if not 2. I think Trotter and Dean will be the starters in 2025 as long as everybody stays healthy and whatnot.
That would be ideal. Like, that was like Devin White was another one. Like, that was probably my least favorite. I've never been a big Devin White guy, but maybe he can resurrect his career as a 1st-round pick. He played really well during that Bucs Super Bowl run, but like, since then it's been kind of downhill. But he's going to carve out. He's already got the starting spot locked in. Yeah, like they continue just to throw dart throws at this position, and maybe this is the year it hits, because last year, like, it was funny. Like, when I was doing research for the division preview episode for the NFC East, I forgot like Shaq Leonard was on the roster last year. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just been an absolute turnstile at the position. So I really hope by the Trotter Jr. and Kobe Dean and Zach Bond can kind of hold it down this year.
I think it just comes to health with Nakobe Dean and then Trotter just getting that experience. Anyway, guys, we're talking to Brenden Deeg here, NFL news editor for the Score, host of the Double Doink Podcast. Got to start the wrap-up process here, but I got two things I want to talk to you about, just slightly off of football. Every guest has to answer one question for the commenters, and they're all just waiting. I can just tell the quietness in the comments are waiting. Every guest has to answer. We're on a 2-game winning streak with guests here with one answer. You can only watch one movie for the rest of your life. It has to be either The Godfather or Goodfellas. You have to pick one. Which one is it?
Oh my God, I might get carved here. I have never seen The Godfather.
Whoa!
So I have to go Goodfellas. I've never seen The Godfather.
Wow.
No, I'm an absolute clown for that. I'm aware, but yeah, my mom. I actually had this conversation with my mom about this the other day. Like, it's just about movies I haven't seen. Like, I've never seen the Titanic. I've never seen The Godfather. There's been a few. Like, I need to get my ass on the couch and start watching these old flicks.
Stop
I've seen
football and watch these movies.
Goodfellas is one of my favorite movies of all time, so I'll go with Goodfellas.
Look at this here. K1 say now,
I'm sorry, K1.
You did not win a new listener to your podcast with that comment right there.
Next time I have 3 hours of my day, I'll sit down and watch it.
Exactly, because you need to carve out a lot of time to watch those movies. One other thing I wanted to bring up, and I hope I'm not out of line doing this, but I've been following you for a long time. We've done work together before, and I just wanted to shout you out. I've seen your recent posts, non-football related, about your health journey, your sobriety journey, and I wanted to say thank you, because I think when people in your position with platforms promote that stuff publicly, it really helps. And the weight loss part of it, the health part of it, has motivated me a little bit, and I'm starting to put together a plan myself. So I want to say how I don't know if you realize when you put that kind of stuff out there public, how it does help people and stuff like that.
Yeah, thank you, man. And no worries at all. I'm very open about this right now.
Yeah. I remember bringing that up once to a guest before, something similar to that, and they kind of afterwards like, I didn't like that question being thrown in there. So
yeah, no, I'm actually full disclosure. Struggled with drug and alcohol addiction for a majority of my life, from like my 20s to kind of when I went into rehab, and I've held it quiet. Like, no one besides like my family and some personal close friends knew about it. And then after the NFL draft this year, I could kind of feel my life slipping away a little bit. Like, I went on vacation right after the draft. I literally went from my work office, finishing the draft, to the airport for a flight on a bachelor party. And then it kind of was falling apart. And then I kind of had a look in the mirror moment in the middle of June and said, you know what? If I'm gonna make a serious change, it's right now. And I decided to check myself into rehab, and it was the single greatest decision I ever made. And when I was in rehab, I told myself, like, if this is gonna work, I have to be open and honest with everyone about it, including my family on social media. Like, I have my Canadian, like, I'm from Toronto, Ontario. I have my Canadian family and my personal friends.
There are some comments asking if you're Canadian with the accent. So yeah.
It's funny, like I can't see it, like I can't hear it when I hear my voice, but whenever I'm in Philadelphia, I've been to Philly like 4 times. Everyone could always retell it. I guess you guys can tell as well. But yeah, so like I have my family in Philadelphia on social media, and like I have a lot of close friends that I keep in touch with through DMs and whatnot. I got a lot of phone calls from a bunch of people right after on Twitter, and like I had so many people reach out. And I said, like, I have to be honest with them if this is going to work as well. And it's been great. Like, today I am 71 days sober. I feeling the best I've ever felt my entire life. And I couldn't imagine going back to my old life. And it's because of being open and honest. So if I'll say this, if there's a listener out there that's struggling and needs someone to talk to, my DMs are open, because now I have to give back, because people have given back to me. And yeah, life is beautiful, man. And I really appreciate bringing this up, because I love talking about it. Yep. I think there's a stigma around it that needs to go away, and I'd be happy to help everyone on the internet, and people that follow me realize that it's okay to struggle. It's okay to have these kind of issues, and you shouldn't be hiding it from anyone.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. So, guys, Brenden Deeg, you can find him at Brenden Deeg _. You can find him on the Score. Where can they find the Double Doink Podcast?
Yeah, so you can follow my page. I post all my content there. I'm Brenden Deeg, at Brenden Deeg _ sorry. Going through division preview series right now. I have a bunch we'll be starting to upload on Monday. I have really cool guests coming on those episodes as well. So I think we're about 3 in. I think we have 5 left to drop. And then, the first Eagles only content episode will be out on Wednesday as well. So it's going to be a mix of NFL general content, Eagles only content, and then some gambling stuff, some like week 1 preview stuff dropping on Fridays every week. And then I'm going to mix this with some variety content as well. I'm going to wait a little bit to kind of see how I want to attack that. But that's something.
I started briefly. Me and a friend of mine were doing some mental health shows and stuff like that. And it's a hard thing to open up for an hour or an hour and a half on a show about. It's hard to get that going, but it does help a lot of people. So
yeah, and I love sobriety content. It's part of the reason why I decided to make the change and go get help, is because I love hearing people's stories about it. So, and if I can help people somehow one person listens and gets help, then it's a success.
That's awesome, guys. Make sure you guys find him. Brenden, thank you for your time this morning. I greatly appreciate it. And we'll do this again sometime during the regular season.
Yeah, Phil, you're the absolute man. Anytime, happy to jump on. Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks a lot, guys. That was Brenden Deeg right there. So let's get the wrap up. You guys got 5 minutes of bonus time today. So let's start the wrap up process. But I do ask you guys to give Brenden a follow. Brenden is a fantastic guy and a great Eagles writer and content creator. So find him on social media, find his podcast, show him support, and help him in support of his journey. Because the sobriety and the health thing that he's going through is fantastic to see, fantastic to hear. But with that being said, guys, I think it's time to wrap it up. I missed a lot of your questions and comments, guys, but we'll get to them. We'll be back Monday with another episode. So, I mean, hell, next week, there's no football going on next week. It's all cut downs. It's all talking about the roster. Lots of the questions I missed, bring them back on Monday, and we'll continue diving into them. But with that being said, I just noticed the see, I've been changing it up. Every few days under there. But with that being said, guys, I got to wrap it up. I got to get to work. So hit that like button, hit that share, subscribe, follow button wherever you're watching. Click all the links down in the description below to find all the different ways you can support everybody. Guys, everybody have a great day. Go Birds. Ring the bell, and bubbles up to you this weekend.